You're born in the lowlands of Mississippi, 1832. The air is thick not just with summer, but with sugar and sweat. The cabin walls are made of warped pine. They creak when your mother breathes. She hums a hymn she half remembers from someone else's sorrow. Outside, the fields stretch to the horizon like a punishment too wide for the sky. Somewhere, a bell rings. Not for you, for work. Your mother wipes the afterbirth with old linen and whispers your name, the only thing she owns. It's a soft word stolen from a Bible she can't read. For one fragile second, she believes you might have a life different from hers. Then the overseer knocks on the doorframe once sharp, and your father is gone again, sent to another field. You never see him hold you. You grow in the shadow of the cotton rows. At 3, you learn the smell of sweat before you learn your letters. At 5, you watch a woman cry quietly while a man writes her son's name into a ledger. That's when you learn how ownership works. One name gained, another erased. At 8, you're sent to help. It means carrying the water bucket until your arms ache. The older slaves laugh softly, not unkindly, but in pity. They know what's coming. When you spill the water once the whip cracks the air near your ear. The sound is a command your bones will never forget. That night, you ask your mother why you were born here. She doesn't answer. She just hums that old tune again, her eyes fixed on the small square of sky through the cabin roof, the only freedom she can still look at. You fall asleep to her song, and the sound of crickets thinking life might still change. It won't. You never get to choose what you'll be, not even your own name. Morning begins before light. The horn sounds deep and hollow, dragging you out of sleep. The dirt floor is cool for a second. Then the air thickens again with the smell of sweat manure and boiled corn. You're 9. Too small for the fields, too big to be invisible. They call you boy, though you've already stopped being one. The work starts at dawn. You carry baskets heavier than your ribs can bear. Cotton feels soft when it's new. Later it cuts your fingers until they shine wet and raw. You learn to twist the stem just right to avoid tearing the fiber. If you do it wrong, someone else bleeds for it. No one tells you this, but you figure it out. Pain is shared like gossip here. At night, you eat what's left corn mush, fatback the silence between prayers. The older ones sit outside the cabins, whispering names of places they'll never see again. Africa, Jamaica, Carolina. The names float in the dark like ghosts too tired to haunt. Sometimes the overseer rides by. His lantern throws your shadow long across the dirt. You freeze instinct before thought. The horse exhales and the air smells of iron and tobacco. You wonder how one man's comfort can be built entirely from another man's exhaustion. By 10, your back has learned to bend just right, not too much to draw attention, not too little to seem proud. By 11, your hands stop shaking when you see the whip. By 12, you've stopped asking questions. You begin to understand the system, though no one ever explains it. Keep your head down. Don't look a white man in the eye. Work when you're told. Laugh when they joke about your skin. Cry quietly if you must at all. Your body changes first. Then your mind follows. The rhythm of your life becomes the rhythm of the field. Pick, drop, wipe, repeat. Sun high, sun gone, sun again. You learn to sing like the others, not out of joy, but to measure time. Each verse, another row, another hour, closer to darkness. The songs hide things the masters don't hear. Grief maps, prayers. Freedom coded in melody. Once you hum too loudly and a white boy throws a stone at you. It hits your shoulder, not hard enough to wound, just enough to remind you what silence costs. That night, you sit with your mother by the fire. She presses a cloth soaked in ash to your blisters and tells you, keep your hands alive. You don't know what she means yet. By morning, you will. You are being trained not to live, but to endure. You're 15, now old enough to work the rows from dawn till dusk, too young to remember what choice ever felt like. Your hands have hardened into tools. The scars across your palms are pale as moonlight badges of usefulness. The overseer says you're one of the good ones. You nod, though you don't know what good means anymore. In this world, it means quiet obedience, fast picking, and never looking up. You can strip a stalk of cotton faster than most grown men. Your fingers know the texture of each leaf, each thorn. They move on their own machine before machine. The rhythm of your work has replaced the rhythm of your heart. Some days you almost feel proud. The pride tastes bitter like burnt sugar, the kind that coats your tongue but never sweetens. Around you, the world hums with labor. The air is full of dust and heat and the metallic scent of sweat. The fields shimmer white with cotton like snow that burns instead of cools. You know the sound of every whip on every back. You can tell who's being punished just by the rhythm of the strikes. Sometimes you imagine the whip is a drum beating out the music of a nation that pretends not to hear it. You stop flinching when others scream. It's not cruelty, it's survival. Feeling everything would kill you faster than any lash. At night, you're allowed to rest if you call it that. You lie under a roof that leaks when it rains. The smell of smoke and sweat thicken your lungs. The stars are there, but they look smaller than you remember. The preacher, another slave, older gray, whispers a sermon about heaven. You try to believe him, but you've stopped picturing wings. Heaven to you looks like a road with no master at the end. Sometimes you hear whispers about the north. Freedom, they call it. You picture it rivers that don't end in patrols, skies that don't belong to anyone. But the same fear that keeps you alive keeps you here. Running is a dream that costs blood. You meet a girl from the next cabin. Her name is Ruth. She laughs softly when she works beside you, and for a moment you remember what it feels like to be human. Then one morning she's gone sold to a neighboring plantation. No one says her name again. You return to your route to the white endless field, to the ache that no longer surprises you. The overseer passes by and nods in approval. Good work, he says. You bow your head because that's what you're supposed to do. But inside, something cracks quiet, invisible, permanent. You have mastered the craft of your own captivity. The years fold over you like layers of dust. You don't notice them passing. Not exactly, only the way your back stiffens and your breath shortens. You're 25 now, maybe. You've stopped counting birthdays. The calendar belongs to someone else. The world, they say, is changing. You hear it first in whispers, talk of war, of Lincoln, of freedom, riding in blue coats. Some nights the men hum songs softer than prayer words coated with hope. You listen, but you don't dare repeat them. Hope can be a dangerous sound. The overseer grows nervous. He rides the fields less often. The master drinks more. The white men talk fast and loud now, as if arguing with the wind itself. Then, one morning, a rider comes, Union soldiers seen nearby. The air feels different, tense and electric, like the world holding its breath. You keep picking, because what else is there to do? The war is a rumor. Hunger is real. Weeks later, gunfire echoes through the trees. The sky smells of smoke. Someone screams that the Yankees are coming, and for the first time in your life, the overseer runs. You freeze. You don't know whether to follow or hide. The cabins burn first. Flames crawl up the dry wood like they've been waiting their turn. You grab your mother's hand, her skin paper-thin, trembling, and you run. The heat bites your back, but the air ahead tastes clean, almost sweet. You spend the night in the woods, crouched among pine needles, the fire painting the horizon red. The crickets are gone. The world is too loud with history breaking open. When dawn comes, the plantation is nothing but smoke and memory. You walk back not to return, but to look. The fields are empty, scorched black. The rows you once bled for are gone. Your mother kneels in the ashes, silent. You want to tell her it's over, that the chains are broken. But the words feel too big for your mouth. A Union soldier finds you 2 days later. He tells you you're free now. He smiles like he's giving you something. You nod because that's what you were trained to do when someone speaks in that tone. But freedom doesn't come with instructions. No one tells you where to go, what to eat, how to live. You walk north until your feet bleed again, the same blisters, new reason. You find work on another farm. They call it sharecropping. You laugh when you realize it's just slavery with paperwork. Your mother doesn't last long. The fields took most of her before freedom could. You bury her near a river, no marker, no hymn. Just dirt and the sound of water moving forward. You stand there a long time, waiting for something to feel different. It doesn't. The world has changed, but you haven't been taught how to live in it. The war ends, but the silence doesn't. You wake one morning to find the sky wide and clean. The fields are quiet, no horn, no orders, no sound except the wind, sliding through the grass. Freedom has a strange noise. It sounds like nothing at all. You work for pay now, or so they say. A few coins at the end of the week, barely enough for cornbread and a place to sleep. The white man who owns the land still calls you boy. The habit of obedience lingers in your muscles. You still nod when spoken to. Old habits outlive the people who taught them. Some nights you dream of the cabin where you were born. You see your mother young again, humming that same half-remembered hymn. In the dream, her hands aren't cracked. Her face isn't tired. She just smiles, as if she forgives you for surviving. You start to understand what she meant that night long ago. Keep your hands alive. Maybe she meant keep them human. Don't let them turn completely to tools. You learn to write your name slowly, one shaky letter at a time. It feels like carving yourself into existence. You choose a name she once whispered, not the one the ledger gave you. For the first time, you belong to yourself. Still, the world doesn't change much. The masters call it reconstruction. You call it pretending. Chains have turned to debt whips to hunger, but the line between owner and owned is still drawn in skin. You grow old, working the same soil that once owned you. The cotton blooms again each spring as if nothing ever happened. One evening, you sit by the river, the same place you buried your mother. The sun bleeds into the water gold and red. You think of Ruth, of songs in the field, of the girl you were forbidden to love. You think of all the faces that passed like smoke through your life. You realize no one will remember your name. No books, no statues, no hymns. Just the earth, the same earth that drank your blood and your tears and kept growing anyway. And yet, you smile. A small, private thing. Because even forgotten lives can mean something. Because endurance itself is a kind of defiance. You close your eyes and breathe. The wind moves across your skin, and for a heartbeat you feel what your mother must have felt that night you were born, a thin, trembling hope that maybe somewhere there's a world where people aren't property. You die quietly as you lived. No chains, no songs. Just the sound of the river steady and endless. You were born, property lived function, and died forgotten, but not meaningless.